Hey, so I haven't made a game in 6 years. My first project was a little platformer called Spikes. That was back in 2018, and then 2 years later, I released a game called GAMEDEV. I started working on another game shortly after, but it never got further than one level. Then I tried working on another game, also didn't get anywhere. Then another, and another. And then fast forward 6 years later to the big 2026, and here I am, empty-handed, ass out, with nothing to show despite doing 6 years of off and on game dev. So I came up with an idea. I want to document making a game. The game has to be easy to make and relatively simple, just a project to get me back into the dev scene. So what if I remade a project? What if I remade my first project? I should remake Spikes. So here we are. I'm making this a series documenting the entire development of my little Spikes remake, from concept to release. I have no idea how long this is going to take or how hard it'll be, but here are my estimates for what I think the game is going to shape up to be. So number one, the game should take like 4 months to make. Now I know, you plan a game to take 4 months, and it'll take 4 years. But I want to try to, I want to try to just make it relatively short in terms of dev time, because Spikes took, I believe, 6 months to make, and then Majuku Mage took 9 months to make. 2, I should be able to make the game 100% on my own, with only playtesters and research for help. So no prepaid, no like paid assets, no commissioning anyone for anything at all. If I want to reach out to the community, or if I need to look up some coding advice or whatever, that's different, right? But I want to do most of the game on my own. So at number 3, the game should have about 30 levels of full release, and a demo with 5 levels. Number 4, I want to release the game on Steam, which is a bit of a tall order from what I gather, but it's not undoable or anything. Number 5, I want at least 100 purchases, because my last game, both games that I've released have been free. I don't know how many downloads my first game got. I lost access to the GameJolt account associated to that because I just forgot the password. And then Majiku Mage, I think got like 20 something downloads over its lifetime. So I want to one-up that. I want to get 100 purchases. Number 6, I want to add free post-release content like local multiplayer, remix levels, maybe an entire mini campaign, like almost like a DLC campaign, and up to an additional 20 bonus levels on top of that. Then 7, this is a pricing thing. The game should be like $2, maybe $3, depending on how difficult it is to make. Now, there's already a massive roadblock before we even start. I have a job. Not to mention, I work like a 48-hour week at a job that obliterates my energy levels every day. I really only have the weekends to put work into my game all day, and that's not even considering like the fact that I have to constantly do stuff around the house because, dishes and floors need to be cleaned, house stuff. So I don't really feel like I have a whole lot of time to do anything at all. But, we adapt. One of the nice things about my job is there's a lot of downtime. And that means it's time that I can spend working on my game. Now, I can't exactly bring my laptop or anything into my work environment, but I do have a phone. So every single piece of art in this game is going to be made on my phone with an app called Resprite, which is just a sprite, but for phones. It's not the same company, I don't think. There's a free version of it, but it does limit how much you can actually export, so I ended up coughing up the 17 doubloons and upgraded to the premium version. Now, let's figure out the engine. So in the current year of 2026, there are more engines than there are people on Earth at this point. You could use I could use Unreal, I could use Unity, Love 2D, GameMaker, Godot, ClickTeam, Monogame, Pico 8, fucking Java, I guess. But for the sake of an easy choice, we can boil it down to the big three: Unity, Unreal, and Godot. I've at least messed with all three, but the only one that really stuck with me was Unity. It's the engine I've been most accustomed to for like 8 years. And while I tried the other two, I didn't really like Unreal's lack of 2D and C++/blueprints. And Godot's node system confuses me too much, and GD script is an unholy abomination to my poor innocent C# eyes. So Unity was kind of the only logical choice for me, especially since both Spikes and Mage were both made in Unity. Now, I know Unity gets a bad rap, and it absolutely deserves it. The company behind it is genuinely one of the dumbest corporations I've ever seen, and they seem way too eager to steal the few shekels you have left after you buy their ridiculously overpriced licenses. A couple years ago, this absolute titanic goober thought that it'd be a good idea to add a runtime fee to games that made over a certain threshold of money. So if you made over $200,000, they would charge you 20 cents anytime someone downloaded your game. Not even like if they just bought it, like if they downloaded it. So if they downloaded it on a different system, you would be charged the 20 cents for that. Obviously nobody liked that. And the fallout was so bad that even Brackies switched to Godot. Since then though, Unity's been trying to save face by doing some actual good stuff for the community, like removing the stupid watermark on personal license games, the personal license, the free license. Now that the engine is figured out, what about the visual style? I wanted to go for some sort of modern retro look while also keeping the graphics as simple as possible. So the tiles and sprites are all 8x8 pixels, and I'll use the Commodore 64 color palette. After some testing around, I honestly love it. It may not be for everyone, but I think it's great, and that's what matters. Next up is music. Honestly, this might be the easiest part of the entire development process for me. I've been making music just as long as I've been developing games, and I've released over 100 songs so far since 2018. That's not including game OSTs or unfinished projects. And you'd think I'd go for like a retro chiptune sound to match with like the Commodore 64 vibe, but to be honest, I don't really like chiptune. It's a bit too limiting for me, and I feel like my music is best when it's like unrestricted. Just use whatever. Next, gameplay. I don't really want to do anything crazy here. I just want to like make a precision platformer that isn't quite as hard as something like, say, Celeste, but not easy enough to like bore you. I'm partially inspired by games like Super Mario Bros. 3. It was kind of my childhood game, and I played the shit out of that game. I love it. I grew up playing it basically. And then there's another game that I kind of got inspired by. It's a really good game called Awesome P. Big shout out to Awesome P. I love it. It's the GOAT. It's super simple, but I love it. And you guys should all check it out, honestly. It's on Steam and Switch, and like PlayStation. Now, the mechanics. I want to try to implement things like a speed boost, jump boost, gravity flipping, invincibility, and other miscellaneous power-ups here and there when I think of them. But the core of the game, like the core mechanic, is if you touch a hazard or enemy, you die, and you restart the level. So due to that factor, you're probably going to be dying a lot. Now, a good way to kind of circumvent people rage quitting your game is just to make the levels shorter. So if you make more levels but make them shorter, people are probably going to enjoy it a bit more than, say, like a 5-minute long level where if you touch one enemy you die. That kind of happened a little bit with Spikes. But yeah, that's kind of, that's what I have so far. I would really love to hear what you guys think, and make sure to, subscribe if you're interested. I am super excited to get working on this project, and I really can't wait to update you guys on the progress that I make. I really hope I can see some suggestions in the comments, and you know, if anyone's really interested, I'll put down a, I don't know, maybe I'll start a Discord server or something. I don't know. I'm kind of just starting this off. I don't really have a community or anything, so I feel it's kind of pointless to make a Discord server. I'll probably do that when I hit like, I don't know, like 500 or 600 subscribers, if that ever happens. I honestly doubt it will. But yeah, that's kind of all I have. I had to actually learn how to script, like how to actually like do video scripting for this. I'm still not good at it. Sorry if I sound kind of like robotic or like I'm reading from a script, because I am. Well, not now, but you know, it's a little weird trying to get used to doing something kind of like that. Maybe in the future I'll do some more like unscripted stuff if people would be interested in that, but that's gonna end up being really ranty. Yeah, I don't know if anyone would really care for that, but I've been recording long enough. I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm gonna let you go. Goodbye.